Okay, on the debate tonight, on the one side, a lot of people who believe that this terminology, that even the use of the word terrorist to define and speak about someone like Shaheed Bhagat Singh is intolerable and insulting. And I don't know how people got away, these people who authored this, historian Mridula Mukherjee, Aditya Mukherjee, Bipin Chandra, Sucheta Mahajan, K.N. Panikar. This book is being used in universities. This book should be taken off the shelves till the word terrorist in whatever context is not removed as a suffix to a description of people like Bhagat Singh, Surya Sen, and as they say, the revolutionary terrorists. Here's the chapter number 20. And if anyone's watching this tonight, and there are 26 references to the word terrorist in the description of Bhagat Singh, unbelievable. I don't know what kind of historians these people are. Rakesh Sinha, Tushar Gandhi, General G.D. Bakshi, and we also have with us today Yadvinder Singh Sandhu, who's president of the Shaheed Bhagat Singh Brigade. And those who surprisingly believe that there is nothing wrong in adding the suffix terrorist to Bhagat Singh include Professor Rizwan Qaiser of Jamia Millia Islamia, Professor Rabindra Gopinath of Jamia Millia Islamia. Professor Gopinath, thank you very much for joining us. Dr. Shouvik.
I didn't say that it is correct.
Pardon me?
I didn't say that it is that I agree with calling him a terrorist.
Yeah, okay. So we'll get the nuanced point of view in just a bit. Dr. Shouvik Mukhopadhayay of the Department of History at Calcutta University. Dr. Mukhopadhayay, thank you. Welcome. Professor Biswanath Chakraborty of the Faculty of Arts, Department of Political Science at Rabindra Bharati University in Kolkata. Thank you very much. Professor Chakraborty, I hope you can hear me. And Syed Irfan Habib, who's author and historian, and author of the book To Make the Deaf Hear, Ideology and Program of Bhagat Singh and His Comrades, joining us live from Delhi. Okay, I'd like to start by inviting Tushar Gandhi, great-grandson of Mahatma Gandhi, and Professor Rizwan Qaiser to begin the debate. Professor Qaiser and Tushar Gandhi. Now, why do you believe there is nothing wrong in using the suffix terrorist to describe Bhagat Singh? Please give me your academic explanation so we can use it to try and take the discussion forward. Viewers, we are tweeting on this. We are not opening up to calls just yet. We might in a bit. Yes, Professor Qaiser.
Two, three things that we got to be very, very clear in our mind. Number one, the way we understand terrorism today and the manner it was understood in 1920s and 30s, or for that matter in the late 19th century, are two different historical contexts altogether. If we're gonna mix up the two, then obviously the contemporary meaning of terrorism gonna reflect back on the revolutionaries of late 19th centuries and 1920s and 30s. Number one, so this is, we got to be very, very clear. Number two, if they were revolutionary terrorists, they wanted to bring about fundamental changes in the system of governance, the manner in which the colonial government was established. They wanted to dismantle it no matter what means that were available to them. Violence was one of the means. There were a lot of people who indulged in violence, and violence was used as a method to liberate India from the colonial rule. INA was one such force in 1940s, but before that many other people combined the revolutionary ideology along with the use of force in order to draw attention, in order to vent out repressed feelings of Indians, the kind of exploitation that they were subjected to, and they thought that to a large extent they were justified. Three.
No, so why do you use the word terrorist? No, why do you use the word terrorist? Listen. My question is 1 second. Let's not see. I have to have limited answers. There are many panelists on the debate. So, Professor Qaiser, I want to open this up. My question is, it is an irony that a book which is titled India's Struggle for Independence, Tushar Gandhi, open up to the debate. You are describing Bhagat Singh as a revolutionary terrorist. My point is the phrasing matters. The phrasing, you do not describe Bhagat Singh as a terrorist. Are we not proud of India's freedom struggle and the various paths that took us to reach independence? Does every person who contributed to that movement not demand respect? Does only Jawaharlal Nehru deserve respect? By using the term terrorist, you are undermining and insulting Shaheed Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, Sukhdev and the others who gave their lives to the country. Tushar Gandhi, please open up to the debate. Tushar.
It is, there's no question about it. It's an insulting term and it should not be used. It smacks of academic insensitivity and
is it as innocent as that? Is it as innocent as that?
No, it is because academics will always have their definitions of terms according to their literary understanding. But
no, it's not a literary understanding. It's not a literary understanding. Tushar, okay.
It should take into consideration the sensitivities of the people, and it smacks of arrogance because it does not take into consideration all that, and this should not be debated. This should be corrected. No, the fact is this should be corrected post haste. It hasn't been done. That is a tragedy.
Excuse me. No. Well, let's get in others. And by the way, to all the others, feel free to come into the debate because I'm not really inviting several people. Yadvinder Singh Sandhu and then GD Bakshi. Yes, Yadvinder. Yes, Yadvinder, please.
हाँ जी, सबसे पहले तो मैं अर्नब जी आपकी टीम को और आपको बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूँ शहीद भगत सिंह परिवार की तरफ से और शहीद भगत सिंह ब्रिगेड की तरफ से कि आपने इस इशू को उठाया है और सारा हिंदुस्तान आपके स्टेप का स्वागत करता है। देखिए, हमारी माँ भारती की आज़ादी के लिए जब आज़ादी का संघर्ष चल रहा था, इन महान लोगों ने जब त्याग की बात आई तो इन लोगों ने अपने जान भी कुर्बान करने से पीछे नहीं हटे। पर हमारे जो इस तरह के इतिहासकार हैं, मैं उनसे ये सवाल पूछना चाहता हूँ, क्या वो ये सब किताबें इंग्लैंड के बच्चों के लिए छाप रहे हैं या हिंदुस्तान के बच्चों के लिए छाप रहे हैं? और आतंकवादी होता क्या है,
बच्चों के लिए भी छापे तो
हमारे ये जो हिस्टोरियंस हैं ये हमें बताएं। दूसरा मैं ये कहना चाहूँगा आपके साथ कि ये 3 पॉइंट आपके सामने लाना चाहूँगा कि ये अब नहीं, बंगाल में भी खुदीराम बोस जी जो शहीद हुए हैं उनको भी अभी 2014 में आतंकवादी कहा गया, क्रांतिकारी आतंकवादी। और मैं आपको बताता हूँ, ICSE जो बोर्ड है उसके अंदर 2011 के अंदर भी 11th की बुक्स के अंदर जब इन महान शहीदों को आतंकवादी कहा गया, भगत सिंह जी, राजगुरु को, तो दिल्ली कोर्ट ने उसके ऊपर एक्शन लिया और बोला कि तुरंत प्रभाव से इन बुक्स के अंदर से ये शब्द हटाए जाएं और इनके सामने अगर नाम रखना है तो नेशनलिस्ट लिखा जाए या रेवोल्यूशनरी लिखा जाए। क्योंकि मैंने ये पूछना चाहता हूँ कि ये लोग लड़ किसके लिए रहे थे? हमारे लिए लड़ रहे थे ना, किसी और के लिए तो नहीं लड़ रहे थे।
बिल्कुल।
और जो आतंकवाद की ये बात कर रहे हैं, अगर मैं एक उदाहरण छोटा सा देना चाहूँगा, UPSC के अंदर भी जब 2007 के अंदर भगत सिंह जी को आतंकवादी कहा गया तो उसका प्रोटेस्ट हुआ। यही बिपिन चंद्रा जी से जब टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया ने क्वेश्चन पूछा, 1 नवंबर का पब्लिकेशन है, इसमें बिपिन चंद्रा जी ने खुद कहा, आई वुड नॉट लाइक इट टू बी यूज्ड एनी लॉन्गर, कि मैं खुद मानता हूं ये शब्द गलत है और इस तरह के एकेडमिक्स नहीं होना चाहिए।
No, watch. Okay. Now Yadvinder. Let's get Syed, Irfan, Habib, and General GD Bakshi also, and I'm just getting several other people so we can take the discussion forward.
Okay,
now Syed, Irfan, Habib, and GD Bakshi. Okay. This is basically what I call a whitewashing theory. It is an attempt to influence the opinions of millions of impressionable minds. This book, Dr. Habib, was published in 1989. Over 100,000 copies have been sold. It is part of Mumbai University, Delhi University, University of Calicut, Pondicherry, JNU, Madras Christian College, Shivaji University. So basically all these students are being taught that Bhagat Singh was a terrorist. How is this pardonable? And do you believe it's an innocent mistake by an academic mind? Is there no proofreading, no thought given to what is written? 26 references in one chapter to Bhagat Singh as a terrorist.
It's not insensitive.
I think it's deliberate. Yes.
I don't think it is. I don't think it's an innocent mistake. There are certain things which we have carried into our present, into post-independent India. There are lots of things which we should have avoided using, and I used in my own book on Bhagat Singh, I consciously used the expression revolutionary nationalist. Professor Bipin Chandra, who actually did immensely for Bhagat Singh, brought him to light, his work, etc. used the expression terrorist in late 70s and early 80s. As Rizwan said, in those days, none of us actually bothered to question it, because terrorism was not such a bad word. But today, and I believe that we should have done it even then.
No.
Actually went unnoticed. Because we didn't really bother.
No. You are saying that you are you saying
my own
no. Syed Irfan Habib. Just 1 minute, please. I want GD Bakshi to come in. See, Syed Irfan Habib. I'll tell you certain loopholes in this book. I don't believe that it's an innocent error.
Yeah.
For example, I don't believe, these are historians, right? They're qualified. Mridula Mukherjee, Aditya Mukherjee, Bipan Chandra, Sucheta Mahajan, K.N. Panikar, all well-known historians.
Of course.
This book admits that it calls those it calls revolutionary terrorists were part of the non-violent, non-cooperation movement. Is that something that terrorists do? Did Osama bin Laden protest against the USA in Washington? Point number one. This book quotes Bhagat Singh as having said, and I quote, "The murder of a leader respected by millions of people at the unworthy hands of an ordinary police official was an insult to the nation. It was the bounden duty of young men to efface it. We regret to have to kill a person, but he was part and parcel of that inhuman and unjust order which has to be destroyed." Are these the words of a terrorist? Which terrorist regrets taking a life? How could these historians get away with it? For so long, this book says, according to this book, GD Bakshi, according to this book reads, the aim was not to kill, for the bombs were relatively harmless, but as the leaflet they threw into the assembly hall had proclaimed, to make the deaf hear, then on what grounds does anyone justify the use of the word terrorist to describe people like no, this book justified it. Surya Sen, Bhagat Singh, it's not a mistake. It's not a mistake.
It doesn't matter.
It's not a mistake, sir. This is not a mistake. A mistake is not published in this form. It's not just about correcting it. It's about the fact that this has been used as part of the curriculum certified.
It needs to be corrected, Arnab. It's a mistake which needs to be corrected.
How come in 60 years of Congress rule in this country this mistake was not corrected? Were people very happy with this? GD Bakshi.
Jamia brand of historians.
No, GD Bakshi. I agree with you. Sure. GD Bakshi. GD Bakshi, please. GD Bakshi.
Excuse me, please. Arnab, I'd like to tell you, there has been a conspiracy by a set of court historians who have been trying to build up the role of the peaceful, so-called non-violent component of the freedom struggle at the expense of all those who laid down their lives. They tried to paint them as terrorists, criminals, and put a halo by comparison on the peaceful, so-called non-violent protest led by the Nehru dynasty. This is worn out. If you see Bipan Chandra's, please let me finish. You can have your say.
Let him respond. Let Syed Irfan Habib respond. Two of them. Syed Irfan Habib and GD Bakshi, please.
Book by Bipan Chandra. 600 pages. How many pages devoted to Netaji?
Bipan Chandra is a historian or great historian.
1.5.
What is this?
No, listen. History is not in isolation.
This is a conspiracy by
Syed Irfan Habib. Syed Irfan Habib. We saw this in the context of the debate on Netaji. 1 second. Syed Irfan Habib. General Bakshi. We see the historians must also realize right now, and Professor Rabindra Gopinath, you are a very respected historian. You would also accept right now that history does not exist in a vacuum, right? To be dealt with by only historians, that people of education, experience and awareness cannot question what is written out, because as Mridula Mukherjee once told somebody on my program, are you a historian? Well, I could ask, if historians don't know, for example, Professor Ravindra Gopinath, that Chandrasekhar Azad, Ram Prasad Bismil, right, and Ashfaqullah Khan, who carried out the Kakori train robbery to deal a rightful blow to British wealth, that if historians, a raid, it has been described as a robbery, a raid, well put. If historians don't know that they were not terrorists, but freedom fighters, then are we not to question these historians? And before one goes and blatantly brands Bhagat Singh's heroism and nationalism as a form of terrorism, we must know what the term terrorism stands for. Terrorism stands for the official or unauthorized use of violence and intimidation in the pursuit of political aims. The point that emerges is it legitimate to vilify the role of a great freedom fighter like Bhagat Singh, who rose to the occasion, Professor Rabindra Gopinath, when India was reeling under British rule, did not think twice before laying down his life for the sole purpose of achieving independence, and term it as a violent act? I mean, what kind of history or logic do these historians follow? And why should we not question it? Professor Rabindra Gopinath, please.
Mr. Arnab Goswami, I don't think anybody has to convince me about the greatness, the revolutionary fervor of somebody like Shaheed Bhagat Singh. That said, I do not think the word terrorist is a very good word, and it has been used by governments when they've tried to suppress oppression, beginning with Ireland, then with Russia, and then we see the colonial government in India using it.
No, but this is not the colonial government's book.
No, just hang on.
This book is not a colonial government's book.
I agree with you.
It's not a colonial government's book.
Yes, so it needs correction.
No,
and there is another book coming back to...
This is not the reason.
Let me just finish,
the way
please.
they are describing...
Rakesh Sinha, let him finish. Rakesh Sinha, let him finish. Rakesh Sinha, let him finish. Let him finish. I'll come to you. I'll come to you, Rakesh. I'll come to you, Rakesh. Let him finish. Yeah. Complete your point.
You know, there is an attempt made to vilify the present the historiography that is dominant in India. But here, what we see here is many things about Bhagat Singh are being just forgotten. The fact that he was a revolutionary socialist, the fact that he was against religion, all these are being forgotten. And I totally agree that the term terrorist should be corrected. And there's another book by Sumit Sarkar, which is an essential reading of Delhi University, which says we cannot call him terrorist in any conventional way.
Professor, just 1 minute, Professor Gopinath, what is the price that one pays, right, for mutilating the thoughts of young generation of people in this country who will go to universities, read a book, imbibe the belief when it's part of a university curriculum that Bhagat Singh was a terrorist? And what is the price that one has to pay, Professor Gopinath, for prejudice, bias, and, if I may say so, political slant? You see, the Nehruvians, let's be very clear about it. There is a group of historians in this country obsessed with writing a pro-Congress form of history and obsessed with only one individual, as if only one individual contributed to this country's growth and greatness, which is Jawaharlal Nehru. Now, my problem is not with facts alone. My problem is with slant and bias. Slant and bias, when they infiltrate a great subject like history, can have devastating impact, Professor, and you know it. I have read this chapter. And you are a historian, I am not. But I can tell you this book, yes it is. This book, India's Struggle for Independence, this chapter shows a clear slant in writing and interpretation of historical facts. When it should have been educating impressionable minds, it skews facts that is clearly pro-Gandhian and pro-Nehruvian in its angle and undermines other historical leaders. Let me give you one particular part. In this chapter it says, talking of early revolutionaries. No,
diabolical.
GD Bakshi, 1 minute. Talking about early revolutionaries, this chapter says that C.R. Das and other leaders, most of the revolutionary terrorists, either joined the movement or suspended their own activities in order to give the Gandhian mass movement a chance. It seems to say that the Gandhian mass movement was the inevitable outcome, as if that was the only part of India's freedom struggle that was worth the effort. My question to Dr. Shouvik Mukhopadhayay, I want him to take this forward, is this. Why do the authors seem keen to belittle and reduce these people and describe them as terrorists? Prof. Dr. Shouvik Mukhopadhayay, give me a reasonable reason why. Why did they try to do this? What's it? Dr. Mukhopadhayay. Dr. Mukhopadhayay.
The terms revolutionary terrorism is connotated to distinguish it from the word revolution. Now, at the very beginning of your program, it was said that it was the term Inqilab Zindabad coined by Bhagat Singh. So it shows that he believed in revolution, that is changing the whole system, maybe with violence, if necessary with violence. This is very, very essential to understand Bhagat Singh, and there is no question of belittling the contribution of
they are presenting the same fact in different words. Let me respond to them. Arnab, I want to respond to them. They are misguiding the entire generation.
Say something.
Arnab, there are three things I have to respond.
Something. Arnab, at least you should give me a chance.
Stalin, Lenin, all the Bolshevik leaders as a revolutionary terrorist?
Not just
all the communist movement in the world, they believed in the violence and class struggle. Will you call them the revolutionary terrorists? No, they won't call them the revolutionary terrorists. There is an ideology behind that. That is a Marxist ideology.
Huge amount of people there are involved.
No, this is not the fact.
Revolution,
they created a binary between Gandhi and the non-Gandhian movement. It is this binary that led them to call them the revolutionary terrorists.
So tell me, okay, Dr. Mukhopadhayay, Dr. Mukhopadhayay, one second. Dr. Mukhopadhayay, I put that question now to Professor Biswanath Chakraborty. You're the historians, I am not. You are the historians, I am not, but let me ask Professor Chakraborty a question. Just 1 minute, Rakesh Sinha, let's get him in also into the debate. He's come for the first time into the debate, let him participate, I'll come to you. My point is, Rakesh Sinha, 1 minute. My question is to Professor.
Arnab, I will finish in 30 seconds.
Okay, 30 seconds.
Arnab, I will take 30 seconds. Give me 30 seconds. One thing, the meaning of terrorism was the same in the dictionary in 1920s and 30s and today. So there is no change in the meaning of terrorism. They have used the ideological predisposition while describing Bhagat Singh, Chandrasekhar Azad, Sukhdev and Ram Prasad Bismil. The reason is that they created binary between Gandhian and non-Gandhian movement. And they eulogized the people who believed in struggle and romance.
Okay.
These were the people who were not roaming the Mountbatten residence. They were the people who maintained celibacy. They were the popular in the Indian
Rakesh Sinha, I made your point. Now let's get out some of the others also. Rakesh Sinha, 1 minute. Rakesh Sinha, my question now is to Professor Biswanath Chakraborty. No, sorry, your 30 seconds are up. I gave you 30 seconds. I give you 30 seconds.
One line.
Sir, your one line never ends.
For 9th Sikh Guru, they have used rapine and the plunder for Guru Tegh Bahadur.
Okay.
It is not merely Bhagat Singh. All the Sikh Guru Tegh Bahadur, they have used the term rapine and plunder. Okay. So this is the conscious effort to degrade and contemptuous effort to degrade all the nationalists.
Fine, thanks. Now Rakesh Sinha, please stop now. Thank you. The point is, now let's ask the historian. Professor Chakraborty, tell me, in the United States of America, when colonists of the 13 colonies violently rebelled against British control and declared themselves to be an independent nation, they were called patriots, they were called rebels, they were called revolutionaries, or some of them were called continentals. I think that was one phrase that was used for them. Tell me today, and this is also a question I put to Mridula Mukherjee, who imperiously said I won't answer any questions on Times Now. Mridula Mukherjee, find one history textbook that calls these people terrorists. Why did we allow this to happen? Today we asked this question to historian Panikkar. He says, I have not written the chapter and hence I am not answerable for it. Give me one history textbook in the world that calls people like these terrorists. Can you find one, Professor Chakraborty? Can you tell me one history textbook that describes Arnab, people like these as terrorists? Yes.
Arnab, first I would like to say you that this is your reporting clearly shows the poverty of our intellectual. I must say that your reporting clearly shows how the intellectual are poor in India, and how the intellectual in India are directly influenced or controlled by the political discourse for a long period. How our historian deconstructed history. So I must say the way they portrayed Bhagat Singh, Surjo Mastadda, I must say they deconstructed history in real sense. So your report actually clearly shows how
Arnab,
our intellectuals are in poverty and how they are controlled by the political discourse for a long period.
You know.
So now, when your report came into existence, they now have started to say that we have to recollect, we have to correct ourselves, we have to remove this thing.
But what was going on till now?
But I must say, so I must say that most of our intellectuals are directly or indirectly controlled by our political discourse, by the political class.
No,
so that's why we are not free.
Okay, one sec. Just one point. One point I want to make.
Can I?
Just one point. GD Bakshi, 1 point. First of all, once again to Mridula Mukherjee and Aditya Mukherjee. I don't think Mridula Mukherjee, it is very tolerant of you to say I will not answer any questions. Right. You keep speaking about tolerance, Professor Mridula Mukherjee. Where is your tolerance? Why don't you answer some questions? Point is, Bhagat Singh was not a terrorist. He was a nationalist. At one time, Professor Rabindra Gopinath, Professor Rizwan, Qaiser, we must understand the rationale and philosophy. We must not do this superficial analysis of Bhagat Singh like this book and these historians have done. You must understand the rationale and philosophy behind Bhagat Singh's actions, which provide a deafening answer. Professor Qaiser, I see your hand go up. They provide a deafening answer to those who criticize his means to achieve his noble end. They don't understand Bhagat Singh. Professor Qaiser. Professor Qaiser and then Tushar. Professor Qaiser and then Tushar. Yeah, Professor Qaiser. Professor Qaiser and then Tushar. One minute. Yeah, Professor Qaiser. Professor Qaiser.
It is time that you and many of your other panelists should read the testament issued by Bhagwati Charan Bohra. He clearly made a distinction between Mahatma Gandhi led movement and the movement which was being led by many of these revolutionaries. Bhagwati Charan Bohra very clearly said that he would not hesitate in using the body force to dispel the British from India.
Sir,
how do you use the body force to dispel British from India?
Again,
obviously you use certain other force.
Yeah, but you have
the manner in which you are trying to equate.
No, you are trying to demean Bhagat Singh.
The manner in which
you are trying to demean Bhagat Singh.
The expression terrorist.
You are trying to demean Bhagat Singh.
Unfortunately, the whole.
You are trying to demean him.
I think it was a mark of respect.
Sir, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you. I'm sorry. I'll have to say something, Professor. You won't be happy with me.
For me,
but I'll say it.
Pride place.
I think I'll have to say it. Professor Rizwan Qaiser.
It is a place of pride.
Professor, listen to me. I want to say something to you. I'm telling you, Professor, if only, Professor, listen. Professor,
you are making a mindless defense of such a term.
Okay, 1 second. We have Smriti Irani on the phone line. I think she's following this. Smriti Irani, are you there? Good evening. Smriti Irani, HRD Minister, is joining us right now. You wanted to say something on this, Smriti. I'm told.
Yes, I have heard this particular issue which has been raised, and the eminent historians and academicians and civil society members who are on your panel tonight discussing this very unfortunate issue. I say unfortunate because I heard the last panelist say that it's a mark of respect. Calling a martyr a terrorist, for me, is no way of expressing any kind of respect, and no amount of intellectual cover can be used to demean the sacrifices of those men and women who laid down their lives for making this country a free nation. As the minister, as a Department of Human Resource Development, we will express the angst of the nation at large, because I believe online also many citizens are responding.
Right,
There's a lot of angst. We will project and we will convey this angst, this anomaly which has been in the system for over 2.5 decades. I watch the panelist in the green shirt, I don't know the gentleman's
Professor
name.
Rizwan Qaiser.
Nodding his head in dismay.
Yeah.
But like I said, if I am to be called intolerant to ensure that Bhagat Singh ji is not called a terrorist, then that is a tag I will proudly wear. We will convey our angst to the university. It being an autonomous institution, I'm sure will reflect on the angst at Indians at large.
One second. Smriti Irani, Tushar Gandhi is saying something to you. 1 second, please. What were you saying?
Madam Minister, you should be saying that we will correct it post haste instead of playing politics over here. Though it would be fitting if you were, as the minister, to tell the nation just now that this was a mistake and it will be corrected before it goes any further.
Smriti Irani.
Like I said, if the angst and expression of anger that Mr. Gandhi is expressing on your channel tonight, if only this was expressed possibly over the past 2 decades, we would not be having a debate today.
Well, you can correct it, ma'am. Correct the mistake of the past 2 decades.
Please be rest assured that this particular, I would not even call it an academic anomaly. I would call it the academic murder of the sacrifice of many individuals, of which Bhagat Singh is a legend.
Well, okay. Smriti Irani will follow up on what you do there because you promised now that you're going to act.
We will convey our angst to the university tomorrow.
Okay, let's see. Thank you very much, Smriti Irani, for calling in. Now, the point is this, and I take issue with Professor Rizwan Qaiser. Professor Rizwan Qaiser, I'm horrified at your argument tonight. I am horrified I'm horrified that none of you, I cannot believe today that Bipin Chandra, Mridula Mukherjee did not know their facts because Bhagat Singh himself condemned the concept and idea of terrorism.
Just smothering any kind of argument.
Dr. Mukhopadhayay, may I read out a part to you and then we can argue about it? Dr. Mukhopadhayay, Bhagat Singh himself condemned...
Are only the professors allowed to speak?
No, one second. Let Dr. Mukhopadhayay make his point. Yes, Dr. Mukhopadhayay, tell me, what's your point of disagreement?
I have a point.
No, what's Dr. Mukhopadhayay's point of disagreement?
So you see, again the CP, it is the political intervention through which we are going to correct
These
itself.
professors have done enough damage. I think we need to put across the layman's point of view.
A simple question.
One second. Dr. Mukhopadhayay.
I would like to ask you.
Dr. Mukhopadhayay.
Excuse me, Arnab. I would like to state that there has been a deliberate plot. It is part of a conspiracy to malign those who laid down their lives like Shaheed Azam, Bhagat Singh.
Okay.
To try and be...
Okay, Tushar Gandhi does not agree. Tushar Gandhi, why don't you agree?
I don't agree that there's a plot.
No, make your point. Okay, 1 second. Now, GD Bakshi, listen to Tushar Gandhi, please. Make your counterpoint, sir. Make your counterpoint.
We're too preoccupied with making allegations about conspiracies and things. We don't want to correct mistakes. That is the problem over here. We just want to score political points and we want to butter up to forces. That's all we want to do. We don't want to agree that a mistake has been made and it needs to be corrected. Don't shout at me, General. Don't shout at me. I can shout louder and Arnab knows I can shout louder.
We will shout at you because for 60 years you have befooled the nation.
So that's
not even 60 years old, General, for your kind information.
False.
Okay, now the point is, gentlemen, GD Bakshi, I was on a point with Rizwan Qaiser and Professor Biswanath Chakraborty on the screen, please. And before them, Dr. Shouvik Mukhopadhayay was making a point. If I may please come in between these three distinguished historians. 1 minute. And Professor Rabindra Gopinath, I also want to come with argue this point with you. Gentlemen, just give me 10 seconds. Give me 10 seconds. Give me 10 seconds, gentlemen, then I argue with you.
Yeah.
You see, just 10 seconds. 10 seconds, Dr. Mukhopadhayay, and you reply to me. Dr. Mukhopadhayay, Bhagat Singh himself condemned the concept and idea of terrorism. In one of his letters called Letter to Young Comrades, he clearly asks his followers to, and I quote, not confuse their aims and means with that of terrorism. Bhagat Singh believed, as per his own writings, that no revolutionary should have a head with, quote unquote, aimless outrage. How then can it possibly be implied that Bhagat Singh himself was a terrorist, whereas it is crystal clear from his ideologies, his writings, that he was a fighter, an activist, a leader, but not a terrorist? This is his letter dated February 2nd, 1931. Now tell me, Dr. Mukhopadhayay, when whoever wrote this book, wrote it. They didn't know about what Bhagat Singh himself wrote.
I will just start with a counter question. Can I have the permission of
please, please.
To the all distinguished guests, my simple question is, the event of 1857, the great upsurge or rebellion, or the Santhal rebellion, and the act of Bhagat Singh killing Saunders, how are you trying to distinguish between these three acts, as well as the non-violent upsurge led by Mahatma Gandhi in 1920, 1930 and 1942? 1942 was by and large a very violent upsurge, but other than the 1942, these events.
Okay. Now,
this is my first question.
Can I please answer that?
No.
And then there is
don't over.
And there are
Tushar Gandhi, please. Tushar Gandhi's response.
I don't think this needs to be intellectualized so much. This term is hurtful. It hurts the emotions of the people of India, and it needs to be done away with. It cannot be allowed to continue to be, descriptive of a martyr who is revered as a hero of the independence. We cannot allow this kind of terminology.
This must not allow. No, this whole thing, Dr. Shouvik Mukhopadhayay, Mukhopadhayay, one minute, Dr. Mukhopadhayay, don't intellectualize that. I'll tell you. There was, let's put that point.
We can make distinction between Gandhi and Bhagat Singh.
Yeah.
Both were patriots, and Bhagat Singh used revolutionary methodology to dislodge British government.
No.
That's fine.
Rakesh Sinha.
The means differed, but their patriotism didn't differ.
Let's get Professor.
Mahatma Gandhi and Bhagat Singh had same commitment to the nation. Their means were different. End was the same. So there is no need to call someone a terrorist and eulogize someone as God.
Now, Dr. Mukhopadhayay and Rakesh Sinha. Dr. Mukhopadhayay and Rakesh Sinha, we don't speak over each other on this debate, at least just 1 minute. 1 minute. My point here is this. I'm looking at what the language of what is written. Professor Ravindra Gopinath, you were right when you said Rakesh Sinha, please, Rakesh Sinha, just 1 minute. There are other panelists. They are also waiting for their turn, and some of our panelists today are not the usual political panelists, and they therefore are waiting for their turn. 1 minute.
Bipin Chandra, everybody used certain terms.
Yeah, let's go a little
against
deeper.
The patriots. I asked the question about the Guru Tegh Bahadur 9th Guru.
Okay, you are not repeating your point, Rakesh Sinha. Now, can I get Professor Ravindra Gopinath on the screen, please? To Professor Ravindra Gopinath.
Yes.
I went through this chapter, and I went through it with an independent view, not with a preconceived view. You see, the whole attempt of these historians, I don't know, they may be obsessed with Nehru and therefore hate Netaji. Obsessed with Nehru, and therefore even today, decades later, consider Bhagat Singh and Netaji to be these two people who had the temerity to challenge the greatness and unblemished and unquestionable leadership of Nehru and Gandhi. Well, that's one way of looking at history. I don't look at history that way. The point is, Ravindra, just one small point. I want you to respond. The language written projects Bhagat Singh as a selfish, self-obsessed person. You know what they write? Why did Bhagat Singh, they raise a question, then why did Bhagat Singh and his comrades still take recourse to individual heroic action? Look at the words, individual heroic action, as in doing things only for their own personal exploits, to talk about Bhagat Singh like this. And further they say, these people, they did not have time for patient intellectual and political work which appeared to be too slow. So the impression that is being given in this text is that people like Bhagat Singh and Surya Sen and Chandrasekhar Azad were selfish, impatient, unthinking young people who did not have the intellectual base and individual patience and commitment of people like Nehru. This is the unstated objective of this chapter. I am quoting for this chapter, sir. Now you tell me, do historians speak a different kind of English? Historians speak the same English we do. Yes, please, sir.
Okay, yes. Two or three
Professor Gopinath. Professor Gopi, I want him to reply.
Yes.
Yeah.
If that is the...
Professor Gopinath must reply. Yeah.
Yes. From listening to what you've just read out, I will not agree with what is written there, number one. But at the same time, I would also like to say, you cannot say all historians subscribe to this view.
I agree.
There are Sumit Sarkar writing an excellent textbook. By the way, this is a suggested reading. If Madam Minister is listening to it, I'd like to convey it to her also. Sumit Sarkar's book is an essential reading, whereas this is a suggested reading on the paper 20 of the Delhi University Honours Syllabus.
Remove it. Remove it.
No, sir, this is
remove
a theoretical
it.
question.
No, I am not in favor. I am not in favor of censorship.
No, it's not censorship.
I would like other people to write.
How will it be censorship? How is it censorship? It's a factual inaccuracy, it's not censorship. Sir, sorry. Tomorrow, if there was a book with the greatest of respect, talking about anybody with direct leaning towards the Nehru-Gandhi family as a terrorist, that book would be taken off the shelves in the last 60 years. But because it's Bhagat Singh, you can get away with it.
Wrong.
And we talk about no. If there was a book, if there was to be a book describing Nehru as a selfish person, that book would not have been in a Delhi University syllabus.
Right.
Sir, I just get
okay, let me just finish. What I'm perturbed about is not that this book, I'm not worried about the criticism about this book. It should be criticized, and we should not try and make these mistakes, not go to colonial usage. But at the same time, please do not try to tar all the historians of India on the basis of one particular article.
Sir, let me tell you. One second. Professor Gopinath, Professor Rizwan Qaiser, Dr. Shouvik, Mukhopadhayay, Professor Biswanath Chakraborty, Syed, Irfan, Habib, you are all people of great academic excellence and brilliance. I have respect for all of you in your different ways, and I believe we may entirely disagree, but that does not take away my respect for you. I don't tar any profession because of the misdeeds of a few. My question to Syed Irfan Habib, who is an authority in his own on Bhagat Singh, is this. You know this, Syed Irfan Habib, that in the leaflet that he threw in the Central Assembly on 9th April 1929, Bhagat Singh said, and I quote, "It is easy to kill individuals, but you cannot kill the ideas. Great empires crumbled, but the ideas survived." After the bombing in the assembly session of 1929, Bhagat Singh along with B.K. Dutt described in court the meaning of revolution, where he talked about the present order of things which have manifested by injustice should change, and a state of affairs which has been characterized by terrible inequalities and forced disparity of chances will lead to a society to a point where that is bound to rebel, and that society will be at the brink of a volcano. That's not the words of a terrorist. Those are the words of a very thinking person. How could any historian just, brush aside Bhagat Singh as some evolved form of terrorist?
Let me
explain this to me.
Let me reiterate what I said in the beginning. I completely disagree with this word terrorist being used for Bhagat Singh. I have not used it at all in any of my writings on Bhagat Singh, in my book, in my papers. So I completely disagree with that. It should have been done, and it should be corrected if it has not been done earlier. Second is, you don't need to really convince me that Bhagat Singh was not a terrorist. Of course he was not a terrorist. For me, he was a revolutionary ideologue.
Yeah.
The people who are talking about Bhagat Singh as a martyr today, as a nationalist today, I disagree with them also. He was not just a martyr. He was not just a nationalist. He was a revolutionary thinker. Unfortunately, all those people who want to celebrate Bhagat Singh as a martyr forget that Bhagat Singh had rich ideas for today, not for just independence. Those ideas are alive. We don't care to go back to his ideas. He spoke on caste, he spoke on religion, he spoke on communalism.
They described
all those
a person.
Ideas are so live today in our lives.
And I think today, Syed Irfan Habib, I am completely against anyone trying to appropriate Bhagat Singh, any political party, including the BJP. Bhagat Singh, in his article, Why I Am an Atheist, clearly underlines that he's beyond the idea of religion and urges everybody to look at his sacrifice as one for the freedom of the nation, that he has no selfish motive of getting any reward, and stresses the importance of the nation where a large number of men and women need to be liberated from their sufferings and distress. I feel pained and horrified tonight. I'm only saying these individuals, whoever's responsible, owes an explanation
Arnab, can I
as to how this happened.
At this stage?
That's all.
Can
I need to close the debate. No, I need to. Yes, Tushar Gandhi.
We have a tradition.
Tushar Gandhi.
We have a tradition of demonizing our icons. The killers of Bapu and the ideology that got Bapu murdered also refers to Bapu's murder as a slaying, indirectly suggesting that a slaying is associated with a demon, and they indirectly associate that by even today. Calling it a slaying instead of a murder.
That's unacceptable.
And this is the tradition that we carry forward on all sides of
one last sentence.
Political spectrum, and this needs to do a lot of introspection in our hearts at how we treat our own icons.
Well, I think at this stage I have to close today, but I hope those who can voluntarily and on their own go through this chapter. Consider how people in India are pained about this. Withdraw this book, because keeping this book out there is the greatest disrespect unless this book is corrected. And let the authors have the humility to explain how this could go and get away. I do not believe this is born out of anything but individual prejudice. Let's not call this history. It's the mutilation of history. Thank you for joining me on debate number 2 on the Newshour tonight. Thank you, gentlemen.